5, Kevin Hague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Conservation and asks, does she have confidence in her department's management of the conservation values at risk from the application by Bathurst Resources to mine the Denniston Plateau?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, yes, the Department is currently assessing the applications of Buller coal previously under Bathurst Resources and will take into account the impact on conservation values in any future decisions.
Kevin Hague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Supplementary. Why did the Department of Conservation play no part at all in advocating for or even providing information about the conservation values of the Denniston Plateau in the resource consent hearings?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, the Department did submit on some matters but did not engage further as it considered the environmental issues it is concerned about can best be managed through the access arrangement and concession processes and provisions.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary. Does the Minister agree with the Resource Consent Commissioners when they said it is abundantly clear that large-scale mining is poised to invade the entire Denniston Plateau coal reserves, which, if unchecked, will totally destroy the ecosystems which are present? And doesn't she believe it is essential that the access agreement that is being applied for is publicly notified?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, in relation to the public notification, I can advise that if the Department is intending to grant the Denniston concession application, then public submissions will be invited and the public can be heard again should it reach that stage.
Kevin Hague.
Supplementary. Is the Minister concerned that the Department employee who was leading the work on preparing and implementing the Department's strategy in relation to this application has now been employed by Bathurst Resources?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I am aware that a DOC employee has accepted a job with Bathurst. He had no role in processing the applications and was never a decision maker. He also acted entirely appropriately and alerted management to his change of employment to ensure any conflict of interest could be avoided.
Kevin Hague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the Minister instruct the Department to audit the decisions and actions taken in the development of its position on Bathurst application to ensure that there has been no conflict of interest, something which the Department has refused to do?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I have no reason to instruct the Department or arrange such an audit.
Kevin Hague.
Will the Minister instruct the Department to restart the process of developing its approach to defending conservation values on the Denniston Plateau so that Bathurst doesn't know the entire strategy, something, again, that the Department has refused to do?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I do not believe that that is necessary.
Kevin Hague.
How many more gamekeepers should the public expect to become poachers now that they are losing their jobs as a result of her government's savage cuts to funding for conservation?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I don't accept any of the premises of that question.
Point of order.
Point of order, Kevin Hague.
I seek the leave of the House to table the decision of the Commissioners appointed by the West Coast Regional Council and Buller District Council dated 26th of August 2011 in respect of this application.
Leave is sought to table that document. Is there any objection? There is no objection. The Honourable Damien O'Connor.
Supplementary, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, can she give an assurance that the restructuring at the Department of Conservation will enable staff to continue to properly monitor the 82 other mine licences on conservation land on the West Coast, something they do take very seriously to protect the environment while enabling jobs to continue in the region, and we should applaud them for that?
The Honourable Kate Wilkinson.
Mr. Speaker, I am assured that the Department can continue to deliver on such work, and can I say I agree with the member when he says we have to be realistic about the way we get to a new, cleaner, greener economy, and that is through the smart, wise use of high-quality hydrocarbons. Very good quote, Mr O'Connor. For the Green Party to oppose every mine is just ridiculous.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Speaker, has the Minister received reports of Labor MP Marianne Street saying Labor is opposed to this mine proceeding, whereas Damien O'Connor has said that Labor supports this mine proceeding? And if so, do those reports clarify just what the opposition party's position is?
Point of order, the Honourable Rick Barker.
Point of order. The Minister's got no responsibility for any of those matters whatsoever as the Minister.
Order. A point of order is being considered. I'll hear the Honourable Simon Power.
Well, unless I heard my colleague incorrectly, he asked if the Minister had seen any reports which indicated two members' views on the same issue. She does have responsibility for reports that she may or may not have seen.
Order. I have to acknowledge the fact that while it is clearly constructed to get round the fact that the Minister doesn't have responsibility for any opposition views, Order. Because what troubles me is it is such an obvious attempt to to try and create for a minister a responsibility the minister definitely does not have. Now, if there was substance in the reports that the minister was responsible for, then I think it would be reasonable to allow it, but I don't think I should allow that question, because I think it takes the artificial construction of questions to an unreasonable extreme. And I think the Honourable Rick Barker has a valid point. I'll hear the Acting Leader of the House, the Honourable Simon Power.
Well, Mr Speaker, that being your ruling, I'd just ask you, more in respect of that question, I'd just ask you not to be too hasty here and give a bit of thought to the construction of a question to a minister which asks the question as to whether or not the minister has seen any reports in respect of a particular issue. Now, you might say, as you did or referred to in your ruling, that this is at the margin of ministerial responsibility and opposition politics, if you like. But in the end, the minister's responsibility as to whether or not they've seen those reports has been a legitimate way of putting questions to ministers in the time I've been in here, or the opposition for the opposition actually for that matter as well. And I just ask you to make sure that we don't now find ourselves in a situation where more broadly that doesn't become an issue for the House.
And I'll hear the Honourable Shadow Leader of the House.
I may find myself losing leave as a result of it, sir, but I would concur with the view of the acting Leader of the House, or whatever his current position is. I think, sir, we can get too narrow here. There is a long-term tradition of being able to cause trouble. But it's part of the thing in this House is that you can't take the politics out of it, and I think what you might be trying to do, sir, is to do that. I think it would be also just as an order to ask the Minister if you've seen any reports on the Act Policy's proposal to use dock land for growing Don Brash's dope or something.
Order. I think order. I think I've heard sufficient, and I appreciate order. And I appreciate the contributions of both the Leader of the House and the Shadow Leader of the House, because it is an important issue that we do not want to narrow the scope for questioning ministers. My trouble with this one is it was so blatantly constructed to ask the Minister about opposition policy, which is not the Minister's responsibility, and that's why I've said on this occasion I believe it really stretches standing orders too far. But I do not intend to make it out of order to ask ministers about reports. It's just sometimes members get away with it by not specifying the reports. One of the dilemmas with this one was the member asking the question was so specific about whatever the reports he wanted the minister to comment on, and they were clearly to do with opposition policy, and I believe that's just taking it too far. And I don't want us to see us lose this ability to question ministers through trying to take it too far, and that's why I've ruled the question out. Point of order, the Honourable Drew Brown.
I wonder if you might furnish the House with a written indication of how you're going to proceed with these things, or how you think they should be proceeded with from this point. Because I would note that Charles Cheval's questioning today, and many of the other questions that have been asked today, do refer to opposition policies and do ask ministers to comment on those policies. It was very evident today in Charles Cheval's questioning. So I think to shut this question down, when it might be easily answered, the answer might be something that you shut down, but the question itself should be perfectly reasonable.
Well, I believe I've dealt with this matter, and in the case the member is referring to, the Attorney-General had clear responsibility for the issue relating to the report that Charles Cheval, or the supposed report Charles Cheval was referring to. In this case, I don't think the Honourable Kate Wilkinson would claim she has any responsibility whatsoever for what the Honourable Marion Street might say about about an issue. And that's the difference. And I think we've just got to be careful that we don't, by taking the issue to this approach too far, spoil it. And I think it's an important ability to be able to question ministers through reports, as the acting Leader of the House has emphasised today, and has been supported by the Shadow Leader of the House. And I think it's important, though, we don't destroy that ability through taking it to a ridiculous point. And in this occasion, the Minister clearly has no responsibility whatsoever for the issues contained in any report about what an opposition member might say. Question number 7, beg your pardon, number 6, the Honourable